Hello everyone, welcome to Tactica Imperialis and to today's video. New setup once again, hopefully for the last time. I have now moved into a new place for this year. I'm really pleased with it actually. So I'm just sort of getting set up with where I want to be sat and how I want to do my setup this year. So let me know what you think in the comments. I've got this space here. I realize it is actually quite echoey and I apologize for that. But I like this space because it's got a clear wall behind me, it's well lit, and I've got like a blackboard sort of thing, so I could put something up here on this wall, and maybe we could have videos where I put things behind me on the blackboard, or maybe we'll even do some sort of teachy-talky lessons where I actually use the blackboard for something, I don't know. I mean, I am going to be a teacher, so maybe it's an idea. So let me know what you think in the comments. And as a second bit of admin, now that I'm in this new place, I'm actually located quite near to the Northwest Gaming Centre. So if any of you live in the area or are interested in having a game, then maybe send us a message. Links in the doobly-doo. Probably the best place for it. And we can maybe arrange a battle report or a little series of Tactica versus subscribers. I'll probably lose a lot of those games. So if you want a free win on YouTube, then you probably would be all right doing that. Just let me know your thoughts, really. Just throwing that out there. But moving to this new place and finding these new gaming places has given me something to think about, because as I've moved to a new town, as it happens as part of this move, I've entered a new gaming meta. New stores, new people, new armies, new games. And that means that I've had to learn a new meta, a new sort of style of how my opponents play, in order that I can play to the best of my abilities without also not fitting in with everybody else. And the first two games that I've had two, both are 40k. I played my Tau. One was against Death Guard and one was against Thousand Suns. In the first game, I got absolutely ruined. I got curb stomped through the floor so hard by this Death Guard list. It had three or four of those, I think it was three. Three of those plague bloat drone thingamabobs, two of those crawlers, 21 plague marines in 3 squads, and then a bunch of heroes as well. It was really, really brutal. I got absolutely annihilated. The second game with the Thousand Suns was a lot closer, and I almost won it. Or I feel like I almost won it. I nearly picked up a bunch more victory points than I did. I just got unlucky with the dice. I think my strategy kind of worked out relatively well. But I did lose that one as well. And it got me thinking about sort of entering a new meta. And I wanted to sit down and make a video about it. So this is probably going to be a bit more of a rambly, me talking at you, discussy ideas, as opposed to a very focused review discussion sort of thing. So bear with me if you're not so keen on the ramble style, because get used to it with this video. So entering a new meta is a very fun and exciting, but also a very nervy experience, because when you're new in town, maybe you've moved to a new city, maybe you've just moved up the road, but there's now a nearer store to you. Maybe all your friends have left to go, say, to find jobs or to university or whatever, and a bunch of new people are now using the store that you currently use. Whatever it is, metas can change, and it can be difficult to want to move with them, but it can also be very exhilarating to want to go and take them on and enter them, because everyone loves new challenges, or at least a lot of people love new challenges. I certainly do enjoy new challenges. It's why I keep challenging myself with different things every year. And it's really quite a nice experience to take it on. But it is also quite scary, because if you're a new store, maybe a group of people have come to your store who know each other, or you're going into a new store with a bunch of people who already are established in that area, it can be tough to break into that group and become one of the crowd. And I say this even as someone who has been noticed as Tactica Imperialis and called out as Tactica Imperialis twice in store, but who have recognised me in store. Shout out those people if you're watching. Even then, I still struggle to fit into new places. It's difficult. Even if you're an established member of the wider community, fitting into this new gaming meta is difficult. It is. It's tough. And it can be difficult to unlearn what you think you know and re-strategize and relearn all your game plans based on this new meta. So that's what I wanted to talk about it, because a lot of us have to do it. So how do we go about it, really? So the first thing that you should probably think about when going into a new meta, whether it's a new store, new people, whatever, is your attitude. This applies both ways to the entrants and the recipients of the new arrivals into their meta. Attitude is so important, because first impressions are important. They matter. Anyone who does job interviews can tell you that. First impressions are important. You need to get a good impression on people when you start out. So going in with the, I've got this really powerful and superior list and I'm going to kick your asses with it, that's not going to make any friends. That's just going to annoy people. Or, hey noob, we're going to absolutely crush you because we all know what we're doing and you probably don't. Yeah, that's just going to drive people off. Don't do that. The wrong attitude will drive people off, whether it's you being forced out of a gaming group or people just stopping coming because of your attitude. It doesn't work for anybody. So I suggest you go in with an attitude of, I'm here to have fun, but I'm also here to play and I'm here to win. Because every gaming group will fit somewhere between ultra casual and top level tournament ultra competitive. It's a big sliding scale, but we're sort of going to look at the two extremes in this video, and I apologize to those of you who are kind of a little bit like me that sit in the middle. But every meta sits somewhere between hyper casual and hyper competitive, with different things all around that spectrum. And it's difficult to go in at one end and say, this is the way I want to play. We'll talk about those options if you want to. But I think the best way to go in is to go in with a sort of casual attitude with a competitive edge. You're there to have fun. The game is supposed to be enjoyable for all parties involved, both the organizers and the players, where the players are you, your opponent or opponents, or your partner and partners. Whoever else you're playing with or playing around should enjoy the experience. People should be able to pass by your table, watch the game for 5 minutes, see what's going on, and not be driven off by the annoyingness of it. And people under the table should not be looking around like, what the flip are those guys doing? And so on and so forth. This needs to be an enjoyable experience for everybody, and going in with a fun interest is good for that, because you can sort of enjoy when the dice go a little bit crazy. You can sort of discuss strategies and all the different things that your list can do. And maybe just get a bit lost in the narrative of the game if that's something that interests you or whatever else. Going in with that attitude can really endear you to a lot of people very, very quickly. I mean, this is a very accepting hobby. We know that. This hobby takes most comers from most walks of life. But it helps if you go in with an attitude that will endear you to other people, because it's less likely to drive those who are maybe not so easy to accept out, and also those who find it hard to get themselves accepted. It also helps them feel more at home if you come in with that fun and fun-loving attitude. However, that's not to say you can't go in with a competitive edge. You're absolutely within your right to say, I want to win this game. And as much as we're going to have some fun and lists are going to be interesting and whatever else, I'm still going to play to win. I'm still going to use my list to the best of my abilities, and I expect you to do the same, because that's just what we like to do. And people will respect that. Most people like to win. So most people will expect them and their opponents, because it is a game of you versus your opponent or opponents, to go out there and win the battle. So go in with that edge to win. By all means, use some of your slightly filthy stratagems and combinations. By all means, take a slightly nasty list if you think that that's what you want to do, but be careful not to overdo it, because there are real disadvantages at both ends of the spectrum. So if you go in with that sort of casual approach, and I'll admit I went into mine with a very casual approach. I built a very wonky list. I just built a list for fun that included Foulsight and Anshi together. Yes, I know, heresy, but I had a narrative reason for it and I made it work in my head. So I did this slightly wonky list, and as much as it had some fun combos that it could pull off, and I had thought about some of the combos it could pull off while I built it, it was very much a list I'd thrown together, I'd never tested. It was very much for fun. And I got smashed. So going in with that sort of attitude is great because people were like, oh, I haven't seen that model in a while. Oh, that's an interesting list. I haven't seen that before. Or, hey, that's a cool combo. I never thought of doing that because it's not what someone wrote on Reddit. It's not a power combo that someone wrote because they saw it at a tournament one time or because they wrote it on a forum somewhere else. Whatever else, that can endear you to people just by bringing unique units and combinations that people would never think of doing if it's not something that fits within comp. And it also means that your games are probably quite fun in terms of the things that can happen, because your list might be not that refined, but if you play it with the right edge, or you play it for YOLO combos, then that can be quite fun. It can. However, it comes with the downside of you're probably going to lose a lot, because if a fun list walks into a relatively optimized meta, it's gonna get stomped unless you are an exceptional general. Some people are good enough to outweigh that disadvantage, but most of us aren't. Most of us are not that good. So you'll lose a lot of games playing like that, and you'll probably be forced, if you want to use that term, be sort of highly encouraged to adapt your list to this new competitive or more competitive group that you've now walked into. On the other hand, you could go in and say, right, I'm going to play competitive for my first couple of weeks because I want to really test myself. I want to see how good of a general I am going up against new people, new opponents, and I'm going to bring a really good list so that I can really push my army to its limits. Okay, that's fine. If you walk into a meta that is already doing that sort of thing and playing quite competitively, then you'll have some really enthralling matches. I'm not super fussed about doing disgusting combinations of filth to disrupt the game, but some people really enjoy that interplay and combination and stratagem and counter-stratagem and tactics and subterfuge and all that sort of thing can be really, really fun for some people. And a lot of people who play in that sort of meta really will enjoy that, so you'll definitely endear yourself quite quickly. And if you still come in with a bit of a fun attitude, as long as you're not a massive jerk about it, then you'll fit right into that sort of a meta. Unfortunately, not every meta is like that. That's the catch. And that is, if you go in with an ultra competitive build and you walk into a meta where people play for fun or people sort of don't take the game all that seriously, or they build for fluff or whatever else, you're going to curb stomp some people very, very quickly for a few weeks until either you stop doing it or they catch up. And that can annoy a lot of people if there's like, oh, for goodness sake, this person's come in and they've just decided to be a massive, massive jerk and bring this super powered list against people they hardly know and have just walked all over the whole store. And you install yourself as sort of r/that guy and the final boss, whether you mean to or not. You might go in with the attitude of, I want to be the best player in this store and I want everybody to challenge me. You might go in with that attitude and that might suit you just fine. But if you become, quote unquote, that guy, people are not going to want to play you. That happens. If you build a really powerful list and people either don't have the miniatures to build competitive lists for their factions, or they just don't want to play that way because it doesn't suit them like it doesn't suit me, they're just not going to want to play you until you simplify and tone back some of the disgusting potential of your lists, maybe take some of the powerful units out, maybe stop using certain stratagems, maybe stop using certain allies that just make you utterly insane. Whatever it is, some people will be completely put off from playing you because you're too powerful and they don't want to play that sort of game. And if the whole store doesn't want to play that sort of game, the whole meta you walk into doesn't want to play that sort of game, you're stuffed. You're going to have to tone back and unlearn all of that competitive stuff that you've been doing. Take out some of the power units. Stop using the abusive combos that your list might be able to pull off. Maybe take those allies out and put in something a little bit more flavorful until you get down to a level where people can actually beat you, or at least stand a chance of beating you. But by that point, the damage may already be done. It's a really difficult situation, and going in at either end of this sort of meta spectrum is difficult. One is very difficult for you because you lose a lot and it can take a while for you to become competitive enough in your own head and fight with that edge to go and compete. Or it can be difficult in that you just don't want to play that way, so you leave. On the other hand, it can be really difficult for your opponents because they don't want to play you because you play a certain way, and you've then got to either go find somewhere else that does do competitive gaming, or they'll refuse to stop playing you until you tone down, and you have to tone down your list, or anything in between. Those are two extreme scenarios, and I don't think many communities would do it, but it could happen. And so it can be really difficult to judge, how do I go in to this new meta? How do I go into this new store, this new group of people, and make it stick? And that's why I recommend that balanced approach of take a list that appeals to your tendencies. It might use a favorite strategy of yours that you've read about in a book. It might use a particular hero that you have a particular fascination for. It might play on a list that you saw in a codex or a battle tome. It could be anything. Just take a list that appeals to you. And if that list is powerful, then that's fine. But as much as you can play with that competitive edge and go for the win, think about the enjoyment of everybody. So if you're looking at your opponent's list and say, oh, that's really not that good of a unit, it just looks cool, that hero sucks, that build is just weird, and it probably doesn't work, maybe consider toning it down in how you play it. You might have a powerful list, but how you play that list can really affect the quality of a game. So I think, oh, I could do this really filthy combo that will shut my opponent down, because that's what my list is designed to do, but I could try this. This would be more fun. This can make things really interesting. I'm going to try that instead and do something different with it. Try and find that balance between casual and competitive, between flavorful and fun, and playing for the win. Find that middle ground, and that way you might lose a couple of games in a competitive meta, but you'll at least be playing or building the right way that you won't be far behind in terms of catching up. And some people might think, okay, they're close, maybe we'll help them get their list up to that last next tier with the models they've got so that they can keep up with us. Or if you are slightly too powerful and you are beating some people, and like, okay, I can see they're trying to have fun, and you can say, okay, I just won't use this one extra unit, or this combo is a little bit silly, I'll stop using it and I'll try something new. And it's much easier to just slip down or grind up than it is to do a complete 180 on your playstyle if the meta doesn't suit the way you're used to or what you decide to gamble on when you go and start out. And of course, as a recipient of these new players, I encourage patience. Some players will come in and be super nervous and not know what they're doing in terms of how to fit in. People like me, for example. I struggle with knowing how to fit into social groups. So give them some time. Talk to them, sort of see what their armies are like. Maybe play a game against them on a smaller scale than normal, just so you get a feel for how they like to play before you go up to those levels and those points values where things start getting really, really powerful or start doing the maximum insanity fun combos. Give them some time to learn the store, learn the meta, and see if you want to adapt to them, how you want to adapt to them, what they probably need to do to adapt to you. Give them some pointers, maybe suggest some things. Give them time, give them support. And the people coming in, of course, listen to that advice, work together, and create a more harmonious meta for everybody. Because that's the way that everything works. This is a great community for supporting people from all walks of life, whether they've come from anywhere, really, any background, any affiliation, any job, any whatever. This hobby unifies us all in many ways. So try and use it as that. Make it a tool to bring people together, not something to force us apart because some of us like to play a different way. So there you go. That was a bit of a long, rambly rant about new metas and adaptation and getting started, and hopefully a few life lessons along the way, maybe, I don't know. So that's been my thoughts on starting out in a new meta. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Give your advice, your suggestions, and all of that fun stuff. I'm always interested to see what you have to say. And let me know about the new setup. I'll try and do a bit work with the audio, but let me know if it's a bit too echoey and I should move. Maybe to find somewhere else. Maybe you want me to do something with the blackboard and put something up on this wall so we can do sort of Tactica teaching or whatever else. I've come up with a better title, I swear. Whatever else, let me know in the comments. Always interested to see what you have to say. For now, though, thank you for watching Tactica Imperialis, and I'll see you all again. Bye for now.